And welcome back. Just a little time ago, we spoke with sexologist Elaine George about sexual affairs after escort Amanda Gough claimed her work as a call girl helps save marriages. But what about emotional infidelity?
Yeah, it's a controversial topic that's sparking a lot of debate, including on our very own couch.
Men can have sex emotion-free. We've talked about it, emotion-free. And this is better, I think, than having an affair because you haven't gone out and sought the conversation. You haven't gone out and sought the emotional connection.
You've
just simply gone out and had the sex and then come back into the family.
Sex is not supposed to be emotion-free.
But for men it is. This is the complete difference between you and I, Shell, and the complete difference between men and women.
We haven't seen him since. We think Shelley's cut him up into small pieces.
20% of married couples say they've been impacted by emotional affairs. But what exactly is emotional cheating, and how do you know you're doing it?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And for more, we have psychologist Sabina Reid joining us now live from Melbourne. Sabina, good morning to you. Firstly, let's hit this one. How do you define what you're calling an emotional affair?
I would define an emotional affair, Larry, by some level of intimacy outside of your monogamous relationship that impacts the overall balance of your marriage or relationship. And typically it involves some level of secrecy or behaviour that you wouldn't want your partner to know about.
So that's different to having a friendship with a member of the opposite sex. It's about if that relationship involves secrecy or things that you're not telling your partner. That's how it's different to friendship.
So the secrecy is one factor, but the other is that with a friendship, typically we're not behaving in a way that we need to hide from our partner. Anything that we do or say with our friend, we wouldn't typically need to keep from our partner. And yet in an emotional affair, I think often the behaviour that we see, if we wouldn't do that in front of our partner, we wouldn't say those things, we wouldn't text those messages with our partner present. So that's a pretty big cue that we're breaching.
That's a good test, isn't it? Are emotional affairs worse than physical ones?
I think, look, it's a good question, but to me it's kind of an artificial delineation, Kylie, because both lead to profound loss of trust, and it's that loss of trust that is so hard for couples to get over. So, yes, there is a difference. Obviously, we saw that in the debate this morning, but ultimately what is lost is the same.
So how common is it for emotional affairs to then go on and develop into something sexual, given that both parties probably find themselves in a more comfortable situation than not at all?
It is definitely a common scenario for emotional affairs to develop into something sexual, because it is that level of intimacy, that level of understanding, that level of connection that often leads to something sexual. But even when people have affairs, 90% of people that have affairs, emotional or physical, do not go on to marry or stay with that person.
Okay.
So they seem to be more fleeting acts that fill a certain need or void in one's life at that time.
What are the signs, therefore, that a platonic relationship could, that friendship we were talking about, what are some of the danger signs that could be entering into dangerous territory?
The main one, I would say, is a level of secrecy and hiding information. But the other cues that something may be afoot is that you're fantasising about someone before you see them, or your partner is fantasising about someone before they see them. The third one is that you're making a special effort to look good before you see this person. And fourthly, that you share information with this person that you haven't even told your partner, and often that information is about your marriage or your monogamous relationship, or about your partner with this third person. And that is a big breach of trust, when it's really your partner that you need to take that level of sharing to, instead of taking it outside the relationship.
Yeah. Sylvie, I have 2.5 hours of makeup every morning before I see Kylie. Don't read anything into that. If your partner has a relationship, there are plenty of people watching who can relate exactly to this question. If your partner has a relationship that does make you uncomfortable in some way, shape or form, what should we say to them, or what do you do about that?
Yeah, it's a good question, Larry. The best thing to say is to be honest and be direct, and use observable behaviour to describe what's going on. So instead of pointing your finger, playing the blame game, just say, when you text, Susie or John, it makes me feel unimportant or vulnerable. Or when you spend time with Jane or Lisa, it makes me feel left out and not connected connected. And in sharing that kind of linking the observable behaviour to your feeling, you're avoiding the blame game, which sets up an unhealthy cycle of attack and defend and disconnect, which is what's probably led to the affair in the first place. So pointing your finger doesn't help to build intimacy, but sharing how you feel does.
Isn't it? I have really good friends, Susie and John, who are in no way linked to... You just pluck those names out.
I don't even know Susie and John.
And two of my best friends at the gym are Lisa and Jane. It's weird this morning what you've done, Sabina.
Well, I've got a lot of clients on my couch. I hope I haven't just breached confidentiality.
Thank you so much, Sabina. Good to chat to you. It's a really important information for us to get onto.
Yeah, really good stuff. Thank you.